Hey, I'm Dr. Mike Brown, and welcome to Momentum Monday. This is a day that we know it is a great day because the Lord said it's a great day. But it's a time where we get the energy. We gather together and muster up the energy for Monday to go through the rest of the week. It's actually like we're going to whiz through this week because we got the momentum. The traction is necessary. And what you and I are about to hear is going to be so profound because we're going to be talking with someone that's going to energize you and really get you on a good start. And you're going to learn the art of the start. Monday is that beginning. So this is a great day, and I want to welcome to this program. He is the owner of I Believe Investments, and it's a firm where he really do some incredible things in helping people and teaching lessons on financing, investments, and business startups and all. The rest is just history. But this is a great time, and I want to welcome, and I was about to say doctor, but that's not the case. I want to welcome Jason Murray. He's like a son to me, and he is. He's just of a different color, different mother. But God bless you, Jason. Good to have you on Momentum Monday.
How are you, Dr. Brown?
I am doing well, and I am prepared, and I know the people that are watching us. This is a time where the energy has to flow. We create the energy. We do everything that's necessary for our movement and activity. I started teaching on some things concerning exchange.
Right.
And if there's anybody that should know anything about exchange, is you,
yes,
because
sir.
you deal with exchange all the time. I understand the potential of balance, but this is that opportunity because this is the moment for acceleration.
Right.
And man, I tell you what, because in our church I've been teaching on this year is the year of acceleration, and I can tell you one miracle breakthrough after another.
Right.
How acceleration has already just invaded this year and the lives of people.
Yes.
Well, tell us, welcome to Momentum Monday. What do you do, first of all, on Monday morning, knowing you're coming after the weekend,
right,
getting up? What do you do to start? How do you start your day to get your momentum going, get the traction, get that footing so that you can move forward? What do you do?
First, thanks for having me, Dr.
Well,
Brown.
it's good to have you.
It's always a pleasure to spend time with you and to talk to you. How I get my day started is typically Sunday night. I go through the calendar of things I have. I really firmly believe in a calendar. It's something you taught me years ago about having a calendar and making sure my time counts for something. And so that day before, I really am prepping. And the other thing I love to do on Monday is get up super early.
Wow. What time do you get up?
5 a.m.
Oh, that's a good time.
Yeah. So I have an early call with the group at 7. So I have to be up at 5. I have to be prepped and know what I'm going to talk about, know what I'm going to say to people. And so that means not just being up to date on the news, but actually being up to date with what's going on in markets, what's going on in people's lives, and then also what people are actually concerned about. And I'm seeing a lot of things going on right now with acceleration, and I'm seeing a lot of people with a wrong mindset right now. And so some people are moving forward rapidly, and other people are kind of like, they're talking about acceleration, but I'm not seeing it. And so one of the things that we like to do is get everybody focused on what they're supposed to do for the day super early on Monday and set them up for a good start of the week, not just that one day. So that's really what we do. Early morning, prep the night before, and make sure everybody's on the same page before 7:30.
Wow. So you do this consistently every single week. It's like clockwork.
It is. Habits are really what changes your life. I think some people don't have a bad life, they have bad habits. And so when you change your habits, you really change your life. And when you taught me about the calendar, I made that a part of a habit that I would have to have a calendar. And because of that, I realized I have so much to do during the day that I have to set up time the day before to prepare for that day.
So how you manage your time is how you manage your life.
Yes.
And when you manage your life well, you should be managing your finances well.
Right.
When you talk about that time, you're talking about exchange.
Right.
Exchange is a process of life.
It is.
Knowing that and realizing, because sometimes you can do things, a person can do certain things, but don't know what they're actually doing, how to define what they're doing. They just end up doing certain things, but they haven't put it into a capsule where they could say, this is what I'm doing. I'm at a period where I am exchanging time for value. This is important because God established everything on a profound exchange system.
Right.
So the whole world, our financial system, our marriage, our businesses, our life is all based on that exchange. We cannot advance without exchange.
Right.
What do you do knowing that exchange is that process and how it must be intentional, not by accident, but intentional? That's how you can sort of regulate what direction your life is going in.
The biggest tool that I use is really old-fashioned. I actually, instead of encapsulating it in my mind, I put it on paper. And so that's the thing that I've learned that makes a difference between people and their results is, one, they don't have it written. They like, I got the plan, it's in my mind. And I'm like, that's not effective. And they've done the Harvard studies and all these other studies, but at the end of the day, for the last 20 years, I've watched people in business, I've watched people in finance, and I've watched people in ministry, and the people that succeed are people that have written goals that they're following. It's systematic, it takes the emotion out of it, and at the end of the day, those written goals have a deadline. And those deadlines start to put things together step by step, piece by piece, and then it starts to become vision, and there becomes a focus and clarity, and that's where you really get the momentum from.
Yeah, and the Bible says, write down the vision, make it plain.
Right.
Because even though when you write down that vision, what a person is actually experiencing is that they're putting together a schedule. So writing it down is essential. So Monday morning, you should know by, like certain people, you put it on your mirror, you put it on your refrigerator, you're going to the coffee machine, you got a little sign there, little things to help you get started. I like to use little phrases just to get me going, it sort of narrows my focus into something.
Sure.
And that's why Monday is not a dead, slow day for me. It's a day I anticipate, because weekends to me can be a interruption at times because I'm so inundated in getting things done, and that's my enjoyment, that's my life. Even when it comes to my marriage, we love, my wife and I love being together, and we love interacting together, but all of that is a part of getting that momentum, always knowing that we're moving in a direction that we believe that God has really blessed us in. So how are things like, and let's just say, how do you do it for your marriage? How do you all get that momentum going? And I know your wife is busy. We've had her on our first program, but what do you all do together? Do you work out together?
We actually don't. She actually goes to the gym and I do other things. And so having a written plan is important to bring the unity in what we're doing. And we created a routine. And so there's certain things that we do in the morning to help each other to accomplish what we're supposed to do. When she's getting out of the door, we're getting to the office, that are essentials that have to be done.
Yes.
From making sure we're investing in what we're eating, to making sure that we're getting like the certain things that we need for work, or what we're going to do, and to make sure that we know each other's calendar. It's super important to have that written plan, because I don't have to guess where she's at or what she's doing. I'm like, hey, this right here is where she's at. I know that I can send this over there and help her out. Or I know I can send that over there and help her out. Or she can do the same thing. And so it helps that synergy and that real team building of what a marriage is supposed to be, because communication is essential to accomplishing things. And without like a written plan, it's very hard to communicate with people that are professionals and are extremely busy, or you've got a lot of kids. and you're just starting, and you got 3 kids at home, you got a wife, and you're like, what do I do? And it's like, well, and so I love checklists. I love written things. I send text message reminders, even to make when she's super busy and traveling or out of town or something. It's the same thing, and that way we're always on one page.
So if exchange is a process of life, communication is then the basis of life.
Right.
You've been listening to certain things that I've been saying for years.
Sure.
We've known each other for how long now?
Over 22 years.
22 years. Can you believe that? 22 years. And I've known this guy not since he was a baby, but since he was a young man, about 21, 22, something like that.
I came to it was about, it was 23, 24, somewhere in there.
Gosh. Longevity has its place. People that can stay the course in a relationship, that means we've walked in agreement. Right. We have come to a place where we agree on the principles of God, and that becomes the basis by which relationships are built. Exchange is so important when it comes to understanding principles. And that understanding of the principle of exchange is how you make money, and you understand that. Right. But you also teach others how to do that.
Sure.
What do you believe, based on the Word of God and based on the principle of wealth itself, how important exchange is when you're teaching that principle to people to learn how to create money?
Right. The first thing is the mentality of it and what the Bible teaches us. We're sent to our generation to be a solver for someone's wealth problem. We're not sent to the generation to need something.
Good point.
The Lord tells us that He provides everything for us, so we're never in want or need. And so that first mindset is to say, I'm sent to this generation to provide wealth for this generation. And then the exchange process comes because we understand seed time and harvest.
Absolutely.
And we understand sowing and reaping. And so we understand to get something out of something, we've got to put something in. And so that causes a place where you're actually looking within. So the first thing I'm talking to people about when it comes to wealth isn't the mechanics of it, but it's the mindset of wealth.
Do you find, I got to interject, do you find at times some people just tend to not understand you have to have something of value to exchange, because if nothing advances without exchange, then power moves where value flows.
Right.
So there has to be something of value in exchange for something of value.
Correct.
But do you find that people just don't seem to get it or comprehend that point?
The heart of the matter, to really get to the source of it, is they don't see the value in themselves.
Wow,
and
good point.
That's really the part where once we see the value within ourselves, then we can understand that there's something within us that we can exchange with others to actually have that process work for us and to work for the other person. I think the real part of blessing in life isn't like looking what you're receiving, but looking what you can actually give. And that part is taught to us in the Bible in the sowing and reaping. But when you understand the blessing of giving, it's an honor to give. And people don't understand that. They think it's an honor to receive. And if we get out of the mindset of what we're taught in the world system and look towards the Bible for the answer for everything, and actually truly say this is the source of what is right, I say it like this: I'll never change your life until I change who you believe or what you believe.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And so it all starts with that.
I wrote a book, When Lambs Turn Into Lions, and we're going to talk about that in just a moment, because we're going to talk about the exchange. And you'll see a quick, brief information about the book, and we'll be right back.
Are you ready to transform your life to go from average to exceptional? Dr. Mikel Brown's groundbreaking new book, When Lambs Turn Into Lions, is here to show you the way. This isn't just another book. It's a transformative blueprint to help you unlock your God-given potential and thrive in every area of your life. As Dr. Brown says, everyone starts from the bottom, and those that start from the top, they're ditch diggers. Grab your copy of When Lambs Turn Into Lions and start your journey toward unstoppable greatness.
Hey, welcome back to Momentum Monday. We got just a few minutes left, and I got to be able to give you some things and information that I think will absolutely bless you. I know we talked about certain things. I'm writing a book right now, which I started probably in the late 80s. Between the mid 80s and late 80s.
Wow.
I've written so many books. I've started so many books over the years. Of course, my latest book, When Lambs Turn into Lions, is doing incredibly well. Good reviews. People are really sharing some good things about it. But this is a book that I know will help you and so many other people, because I'm talking about in this book the life of Solomon and how Solomon understood exchange. But the title of the book is pretty unique.
It is.
It's called Poor Man's Dream, Rich Man's King.
Wow.
Now, it's a powerful book, but again, it has taken years. I just felt one day that God just said, get busy on finishing that book. And so, but when we talk about exchange, this is how momentum is happening, how you get that traction, especially when you're starting on a Monday, on how this power of exchange happens. The one who masters exchange masters momentum. Did you hear that? The one who masters exchange masters momentum. What would you say about that point as I've pinned that?
First, it's a great point, and the book itself is a blessing that you're talking about, When Lambs Turn into Lions. That book right there teaches you about business. It also teaches you about exchange, but it teaches you about the mindset of how to go in and out in exchange, which I believe is one of the most powerful techniques that we see in the Bible. Paul said he became all things to all men so as to win some. And in business, it's the same way.
That's an exchange.
It is. So in business, it's the same way. We have to understand what the problem is that you're looking to solve based on the solution we're looking to provide based on the problem that we're looking to solve. And so that process is exchange, and business is the core of it. And so when you're looking at your quote and seeing it at its essence, it comes down to the basis of, I can solve a problem and I can provide a solution. What is it that I'm exchanging? And again, it goes back to what you have within you.
Wow, yes, yeah.
What do I have within to exchange? I understood something, and I had a gift with numbers since I was around 6 years old. 8248476 is a number of someone that I knew when I was in sixth grade. And I remember those numbers quickly, and I had to realize, okay, I can't run away from this. This is a gift. This is what I'm going to do to help other people. And when I did that, it changed my life. Instead of trying to pursue writing, which I wasn't the best writer in the world.
But you were good with numbers.
Well, I was good with numbers. And so we look at the New York Stock Exchange every day and evaluate companies. And then we look at the essence of it. What amount of dollars am I willing to exchange to have a part ownership of that company? And so I teach people how to evaluate a company and their value. And so we can do that with anything in life. We can extract value from it and decide what it's worth. Yeah. And if we're able to do that and buy it at a discount, then we're able to sell it at a profit, then we've done something that we call profiting, and we've made a great exchange. And so that right there is what we teach people to do, and that right there is the essence of your quote. What's the value in something? What am I willing to pay? And then what is somebody going to be willing to pay for in the future for that product or service?
And that will create the momentum for growth. That's the whole process.
Right.
Most people that don't understand the power of exchange don't realize that exchanging something isn't that you're losing it. You're leveraging it. Correct. That's what it is. You're going to be teaching tomorrow on Tuesday about the investing. Right. And how with this year theme for what God is saying, this is a year of acceleration. Right. We see what's happening in the market. We see what President Trump is doing and the policies he's changing. He's making it easier for investing in this country.
Right.
And so I am enthroned by what God is doing right now. It's just amazing. I don't want people to miss what God is doing. We have a window that is so open, but it will start narrowing down.
Right.
But right now it's open. What can you advise other people in doing on how important it is to start exactly where you are? It doesn't matter if you don't have $20,000 to invest right now,
Right.
or $100,000. You can start with a few dollars, but you got to start.
Right.
It's got to get some traction. The greater the start, the greater the traction. What can you say to those people, and why it's important for them to come to that class tomorrow so that they can learn the power of investing?
Number one, I always go back to the Bible as a reference. And I remember the parable of the talents. Matthew 25, to one he gave 5, to one he gave 2, to one he gave 1, according to their ability. It wasn't a gender thing. It wasn't a race thing. It wasn't who their parents were. He gave it to them based on their ability. And the first thing I see people ask for is more, and they should be asking for capacity. We see it again with the lady. He told her to go borrow. She had things within her house. And he told her, he says, go borrow jars. They needed a vessel, capacity. And so once she had capacity, she could pour oil in there and extract value. And then she could turn around and sell what she had and pay off her debt. The two things I'm hearing you say this year that I really want to point out to people when it comes to investing is get the synergy of debt reduction and debt free at the same time that you're investing. And so I'm going to teach people how to split their money in different areas so that they can do both at the same time. And we also know the other principle, to him who has, more will be given.
That's exactly what the word says. And finish up, and it
so
says,
him who has not, even what he has will be taken away. And so it's important that you start putting money in that direction, because you're saying that you trust God's system over the world system. You're saying, I'm not afraid of the markets or the news or whatever, or even if it's too favorable. I'm not looking at the conditions. I'm looking at the principle, and I'm putting it to work.
What you hold on to controls you. What you release positions you. That's essentially what you're saying.
Yes.
And I want to say that again. What you hold on to controls you. What you release positions you. This is all of what we're talking about. Why and how you can be positioned in life for increase, to grow. Now the Bible says in Deuteronomy 8:18 that God gives us the ability, the power to create wealth. And that power is a God-designed intrinsic ability within every single person to create wealth and increase. And so you don't want to miss the class, but this is Momentum Monday, and you should get pumped up right now, because you don't want to look back and say, I woulda, coulda, shoulda. You don't want to miss the time. What can you say to these people in reference to, and I mean speak directly to that camera, that you could say, this is what you need to do to make sure you come tomorrow, but what we've been talking about and how it can impact your life?
The first thing for me was to realize I didn't know everything, that I needed to come and learn something. And I believe that's what happens to a lot of people. They believe they know everything, so they're like, I don't need to hear this. I don't need to understand these things. I've heard the Bible before. I understand. But you always told me that it's the fruit of things. And the Bible tells us to look at those who've obtained the promises, not those that talked about the promises. And so tomorrow we're going to show you how to obtain the promises of God, the wealth of God, and the acceleration that we're talking about. And at the same time, rid yourself of the sorrow of debt. I'm really excited for it, and I'm really excited for what God's doing in this season and how He's positioning His body for the last hour and last days of time.
Oh, man. I'm pumped up. You seem like you're pumped up.
Extremely pumped up.
I love talking about increase. I love talking about the laws of God, the principles by which we govern our lives. And I know that the greater the trade, the greater the transformation. The more we put in, the more we get out.
Yes,
That's
sir.
just how it works.
Yes,
Glory
sir.
to God. Jason, it's good to have you.
Thank you.
I know that these people are excited about the class tomorrow. What time is it going to happen tomorrow?
I believe it's 6:45.
6:45.
And then we should be done by 7:45, and then Q&A for 15 minutes.
Praise God. So you have an opportunity. Don't miss the opportunity.
And it's free.
And it's absolutely free.
Right.
But it requires something. What? Attention.
Pay their
You're
time.
exchanging your attention. So don't miss out. I'm going to be somewhere else, but he's going to be teaching. We're doing as much as we can at this moment. I'm only one person. He's one person. We can only be at one place at one time. But I have books and tapes, and I have things available for you. If you don't have a copy of my book, When Lambs Turn into Lions, get it. Go online, go to mikelbrown.com, and you can order it. As soon as you order it, they're going to send that baby out to you. However, if you want it FedEx or however you want it. But it's going to be an incredible time. But you can also go to Amazon. But make sure, I want you to start with the first chapter to read, not the first chapter. The first chapter I want you to read is the 11th chapter, because it's going to set a premise for the rest of the book for you. Somebody said one time, why did you put the 11th chapter back there? Because I think that the beginning is not always the best place to actually start. When you want to get into something, this is why I wanted this in the middle, because the more you get into that middle, when you read that 11th chapter, you're going to want to read the beginning. And then it'll take you through the 11th chapter and the chapters thereafter. All I want is to set a premise. That's all I want to do. Not that the beginning, the first chapter, doesn't do that, but not in the way it is designed. A first chapter is always giving you the basis. I want you to get more of the environment of the book, so then you can go from the chapter 1 to the however many chapters there are. But you read chapter 11. What did you think about chapter 11 real fast before we left?
I like 10 and 11 combined. For me, it told me a lot about you and how you interact with people. And it allowed me to know that I don't always have to be one or the other. I don't always have to be the aggressor. I don't always have to be passive. I don't always have to be the student. I always have to be the teacher. I can learn to flow in what's needed for the moment. And I've seen that in you for the last 20 years. And it allowed me to see more of who you are as a person, and not just respect you, but really honor the time I spend with you, because I can see the wisdom and knowledge that God has developed in you over the last 4 or 5 decades that you've been walking with Him. Much longer than I've been alive. But
we don't have to put all that in terms of age. I look young, so that's wonderful. Go ahead.
But it really blessed my life, because I can see that, and it allows me an example to know how to take on certain situations. Some things I've got to push through harder, and some things I'm like, I can just relax. And I can listen and be the person I'm supposed to be in that situation and not have to be the aggressor.
It's time to accelerate.
Yes, sir.
Happy to Momentum Monday. God bless you
Thank
again.
you. Good to see
God
you.
bless you. We look forward to seeing you. We're going to show that commercial one more time on the book so you can get the information. God bless you. I look forward to seeing you next week. Don't miss the momentum. Catch the traction. God bless you. Bye-bye.